So today what I want to do is I want to share with you the 6 things I had to do in order to accept it and learn to live with it, and not only live with it, but really feel empowered in my own skin. The first thing I had to do was acknowledge it. So acknowledge what I've been through. Acknowledge what situations I was given. Acknowledge what I stand for. How did I get to where I am now? Acknowledge my story. In my case, acknowledge my difference. Right? So a lot of times we try not to think about certain parts of our life. For me, it looked like I was really embarrassed by it, so I would hide behind sweaters, even in 100+ degree weathers. So I had to acknowledge that it was something I had to face. It wasn't something that was just going to magically go away. Number 2 was radical acceptance. So with this one, it was taking a look, not only acknowledging my story and my difference, but also accepting it. Realizing that there's certain things in life that you cannot change. For me, this was one of it. I wasn't just going to wake up one day and oh, I'm fully abled, right? For you, radical acceptance might look like your height or a situation that you were given as a kid. A certain parent, a certain event that may have completely, in a sense, destroyed you. But you get to accept that cannot be changed any longer. That it happens, and it is what it is, and you get to move forward with that. The third one is forgiveness. So with this one, not only did it take acknowledging and accepting, but then I had to forgive myself for the fact that I was very ashamed of it. I was embarrassed by it. I had to forgive myself and give myself grace for the fact that I spent so many years worried about what others might think or others were saying or whatever it was. I had to allow myself to say, you know what, yeah, I was there, but this is no longer where I choose to be. And I forgive myself for spending all those years hiding behind sweaters. I forgive myself for trying to be different. A great thing that I love doing when it comes to forgiveness is writing a letter. I encourage you guys to do this daily if you choose to. You could do it weekly, you could do it monthly. I would suggest at least doing it monthly, but if you could do this daily, it's so helpful. The forgiveness letter looks something like, Dear past self, I thank you for blank. I forgive you for blank. From now on, we blank. So forgiveness doesn't just look like, oh, I spent so many years of my life doing this and being a certain way. Forgiveness could also be, for example, if something triggers me and I get really, really annoyed for no reason, I get to go back. And I know that I've done enough work to know that a lot of those angry, snappy moments come from when I was 15. So if I have a day where I'm just really on edge, really frustrated, I get to write a letter to my 15-year-old self. So instead of Dear past self, it'd be Dear 15-year-old Ruby, I thank you for trying to protect us by doing X, Y, and Z. I forgive you for pushing people away. From now on, we get to allow people to come into our lives, put our guard down, whatever you want to do. This is super helpful, and I really recommend you trying it out. The next thing I had to do was heal. So once you acknowledge, once you accept, once you forgive, you get to heal. So this kind of looks like once you're forgiven, you get to mend that relationship. You get to be okay with whatever that story, that thing that happened looks like. One of my mentors, coaches right now, she said this quote, and I don't know if it comes from her, she got it from someone, But she told me in one of our sessions, she said, speak from your scars, not your wounds. And I thought that was so beautiful and impactful because it is so true. When we're in the process of forgiving ourselves and when we want to step out of our comfort zone, a lot of times you'll hear a lot of people tell you, well, get vulnerable, talk about what you're going through, talk about the hardships. People want to hear that. And yeah, they do. But if you're talking from a place that still hurts, you're not going to be able to get through you're not going to be able to get through your point or your point across because it still hurts. It's still very fresh. So when you're healing, make sure that you heal completely, or at least enough for it to be a wound and no longer a scar. Number 5 is embrace. So now that you accepted whatever it is, now that you've acknowledged it, now that you've healed it, now that you have forgiven yourself, you get to embrace it. So for me, it not only took me accepting that this is what it is, this is how I am, but I had to fully embrace and fully love on myself in order to be able to show up completely and to be okay with how I am. So for embracing, it's like looking in the mirror, telling yourself, this is the situation. I acknowledge, I accept it. I forgive it, I heal, and I absolutely fucking love it. And this is such a key point to changing your life, because when you learn to embrace it and you learn to love it, then you approach everything from a place of, it doesn't matter if this happens for me or not. I love where I am right now. I truly love who I am right now. And so embracing goes a lot deeper than just the surface level of yeah, that's cool, whatever. Or a lot of times you'll see people are trying to lose weight or get fit or achieve something from a place of well, I hate the way I look and so I need to change. And it's a lot harder for them to change because they're doing it from a place of judgment rather than a place of embracing and loving who they are currently right now. Number 6 is commit. So for me, when I was learning to love myself, I had to not only do all the things I previously mentioned, but I had to commit to my mission. I had to commit to the difference I was going to make by sharing my story and by fully embracing who I was. I committed to the people that needed to hear my message. But not only that, yeah, it's great to be able to inspire and help people. But my commitment is truly to my 3-year-old self, to that little Ruby that didn't really see anyone with the difference out there. That is who my commitment is to, and that is who I show up for every single day. Of course, I show up for the people that need to hear, but even if there was no single person listening to this podcast or to my Instagram stories or whatever, I would still show up for that little girl. And then number 7 and the last one is to share your story, share your struggles, share your journey, I guess you could say. So for me, it was once I committed to myself, then I got to share my story. Then I got to show up unapologetically, fully loving who I was. And I don't say wait until you're ready, because when I started sharing my story, I started with the blog. And that was all pink. I was wearing dresses. My hair was a natural color. And that's who I thought I had to be. But I went on that journey and I learned to love who I was. And I learned to love and appreciate who I came to be in this planet. And so share before you're fucking ready, but also make sure that you're taking these steps into learning how to accept you and your story. These are kind of what I did subconsciously while in the process and in the journey of learning to love and accept myself and learning to live with the physical difference. But I'm sure you could apply this to any aspect of your life and it would work absolutely the same. So I hope this podcast was helpful to you. Let me know if you do any of these, if you apply any of these on my Instagram at Ruby Skeleton. And if you know someone that could benefit from this, please share it with them, because when I share this, when you share this, we create a ripple effect and we really help each other heal, which in turn helps the universe heal. So I appreciate you, I love you, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.